Take a step inside music history as we bring you on a tour of the largest collection of artifacts and memorabilia at the Hip Hop Museum pop-up experience.
On the 40th anniversary of the famed song Rapper's Delight, hip hop history is coming alive in the district.
With more than 500 items from hip hop history, there's no shortage of collectibles to spark nostalgia as well as touch a new generation of music fans.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop, you don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red.
Everybody who comes in here for the first time, you know, they're just so excited and inspired because, you know, this has never been done before.
The genre's creators and pioneers have been turning out to see the collection for themselves, and in some cases, to be inducted into the ranks of hip-hop royalty.
I do have one of these, and I am proud of this right here.
I think it's a great thing because it shows the maturity of what hip-hop is for this history. And it's not only hip-hop history, it's basically it's black history.
We brought our daughter. She grew up in the backseat listening to this, repeating this. For me, it's a continuation of the love of hip-hop music. It absolutely is.
If you really love hip-hop, I need to hear you say, hell yeah!
Hip-hop to the day I die!
Oh my God, this is amazing. This is really amazing, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of it.
I'm transforming!
Say what?
You got what I need!
I can't hear you, can't hear you.
Say he's just a friend!
Say what?
You say he's just a friend!
Oh, baby!
Yo, main source forever, yo. Happy New Year to everybody in the building.
A big deal, you know. It's been a long time coming. Finally, there's a brick and mortar establishment to show what hip hop means.
A hip hop museum is something definitely needed to preserve the culture.
A traveling food, art, fun, broadcasting, DJ, producer, performance, graffiti, b-boy concert experience encompassing all aspects of a music culture.
Oh my God, you are tuned into a very special edition of Hip Hop in Action. I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision Studios and the Hip Hop Museum, with my incredibly special co-host for the day, Geechee Dan the Tape Guy.
What's good? What's good?
Geechee Dan, we have
Jeremy, what up, baby? I'm back in the DC.
You're back in the building.
Word is born.
You brought two more legends with you from Soundview.
Right. Yeah, you know I had to come
Let's
through.
let them introduce themselves.
That's what's
the
up.
one and only members of the group, the Jazzy Five. We have on my right,
Grand Rocker Master DEE, la-di-da, that's me, the singing MC from the Jazzy 5 MCs.
and to his right we have...
I'm the microphone chief MC Master B. Jazzy 5, Zulu Nation, Soul Sonic, Black Spades, everybody. Soundview, represent.
Soundview represent is right. And I want to say a nice, rest in peace, rest in power to the one and only Mr. Freeze.
Chuckle up.
Chuckle up, man.
Word. Rest in peace, Mr. Freeze, man.
Yep. And a big shout out also to Master Ice.
Master Ice. AJ Les.
AJ Les.
Jazzy J, Red Alert.
Right. All of the guys, we want to give a thanks and appreciation because we know that there were many hands in allowing you guys to become who you guys became, right?
That's right.
And it all started in a place in the Bronx.
Soundview.
Soundview stand up. We have an incredible special shout out and a donation from Jinx, the t-shirt king.
Jinx the king.
Okay, and I want to just before I go any further, I want to give him a big shout out. You can find him on IG at Jinx, Jinx, DA, Shirt King. Okay, on Instagram, and he's also from Soundview.
Yes, right.
Yes.
And he made something very, very special that you guys are donating to the museum that we will see at the end of the program. But let's start right in the beginning. Okay, tell us how the Jazzy 5 came to be. Master B, go ahead.
I guess that got to be me. I'm the oldest member of the 5, number one. I started rapping in 1975 with Disco King Mario, Tex D Hollywood, DJ Kenny Ken, Dr. Rock, Jazzy J, and Sundance. And what happened was Sundance and Jazzy J left Mario and went join the Soul Sonic Force in 1977. Then they asked me to come try out for Soul Sonic Force, and I had to battle Biggs and Powwow and Hutch and so forth. And then that way, me and Master Ice, which is Sundance's brother, we became the 8th member of Soul Sonic Force. At one time, there was 8 MCs and 3 DJs. Yeah, the original Soul Sonic Force was Mr. Biggs, Powwow, Hutch, Ice, Lisa Lee, Sundance, Master Ice, Master B, along with DJ Jazzy J, Cool DJ Red Alert, and Bambaataa. That was the Soul Sonic Force in a whole. But it got to the point it was too many MCs and it was too many people. So we broke it down. I was supposed to go with the original Soul Sonic. I was supposed to go with Soul Sonic Force with Biggs, Powwow, and Globe. But nah, we wanted to do something over in Soundview. So what happened was Jazzy J, Cool DJ Red Alert, me and Master Ice, Sundance, and Charlie 2 formed the Jazzy 4.
Jazzy 4.
It was Jazzy 4 at first. Then after a while, Sundance wanted to go solo. Charlie 2 ended up going back to college in Iowa College. It was just left with me and Master Ice. We're like, what we gonna do? Well, we gotta keep this going. So we recruited D, AJ Les, and Freeze. That's how it became the Jazzy 5 and the rest is history.
But Freeze came in before me.
Right.
Right? It was like about a year before me, if I remember correctly.
Well, the bottom line was we had to recruit 3 more members.
Right.
I can't remember exactly, it was so long ago.
Right.
Who came first, who came second. I know when we got those 3 together and we formed the J5. And from there on, we changed the whole culture of how we do things. Now we taking on anybody and everybody.
But back up a little. You said something I don't want to gloss over. So you said that in order to get into Zulu or into the Soul Sonic Force, you had to battle Powwow and all those guys.
Yes, see, back then.
Because it sounds like a hip-hop episode of Street Fighter. Like
that's how it was. That's how it was. Like you go to Bronx River Center, there's a room in the back of the stage. And we all had to meet up in that room. And I had to walk in like the new guy and let's see what you got. You got to go against Biggs. You got to go against Powwow. You got to go against Hutch. And if you're nice enough...
What year was that, do you think?
1977.
77. You'd been rapping for 2 years.
And if you're nice enough to burn them or hold your own against them, you now become a member of Soul Sonic Force. So I did just that. I burned it.
Let's go even farther back. What made you want to start rhyming to begin with?
I'm going to tell you the truth. See, we're going to have to go further back than this now. A lot of people don't know how hip-hop got started. I'm going to break this down for you now. I'm going to give y'all a class. I'm going to give you 1A schooling right now.
Hip-Hop 101.
Hip-Hop 101. New York City was a crime zone back in the early 70s. Black Spade, Savage Nomads, Hells Angels, you name it, every street gang ran New York. And it got to the point where the cops were scared to go against the gang because they only had 6 shots, 38 revolvers. So you see 30 gang members sitting on the bench and the cop walked down, it's a B cop, I'm not walking down there. So what happened, the gangs ran New York. They used to go in the grocery store, we used to go in the store and just grab 5 shopping carts and take whatever we want. And the guy said, you gotta pay, you're lucky we let you live. And we walk out the store. And it got to the point that people's mothers had colors on. People were making gangs to protect themselves from other gangs. That's why everybody was a gang, to protect you from the other gang. So what happened was...
Like the Warriors.
The Warriors is the only reference we have to back then, but the Warriors is watered down.
Right, right.
It was much
the
more
Hollywood
violent,
version.
much more violent.
Right,
That was
right.
their depiction.
Right, right.
It was much more violent. So what happened was, Mayor Lindsay, who was the mayor of New York at that time, signed the contract with the United States National Guard. The cops would issue Glock 9mm, and now it's the United States National Guard and the NYPD now wage war against the gangs. And there was a lot of senseless killing in '73. Because now the cops got balls now, and then you got the army trucks pulling up in the projects along with the police cars. So it got to the point, the gang life, the way we knew it, was coming to an end. One part in the Warriors movie is true. When all the gangs met up in that one park, it's true, because we all met up in Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx. And we all met up at one time, just like Woodstock.
That scene was based on reality?
Yeah.
Damn.
Just like in Woodstock, when he had the flyers going around New York State, the flyers circulated all around New York, and we all met up in Van Cortlandt Park. And at one time, we all denounced, stripped our colors, and went underground. Except for the Hells Angels, who went on to Hollywood and made them.
But that was as a result of the cops becoming stronger and cracking down.
Of the senseless killings. And now, the gang life, the way we know it, it's over. So now, we stripped the colors, we went underground. Now, we want to bring unity back to the community. How can we do this?
Wow.
So now, the way we want to bring unity back to the community, we started with block parties. So Cool Herc's over here in Sedgwick, Bambaata's over here in Bronx River, Mario's over here in Bronxdale and Monroe, Cool DJ D, and now DJs all around and now starting with just block parties to bring the unity back, to let them know it's safe to come outside again. Let's bring the unity back to the community. Then next you know, Herc brought down the turntable. And before, you know, they just partying and so forth, but then they added a mic to it. It took steps and stages before you know it, the birth of hip hop. They said, what's going down in the Bronx? They're doing something down there. Something's going on in the Bronx. It's a new musical thing. And before you know it, and they started scratching, and next they put a mic to it, and next you know, break dances, and it just became a fad. Now, a lot of people growing up was telling us, you're wasting your time, y'all ain't going nowhere, it's just a fad, da-da-da-da-da. But you know what, if we'd have listened to them, nothing would be happening right now.
Because we used to hear that all the time. Everybody was talking about how it was just for that moment, and that was it. You know what I mean?
It wasn't going to keep going.
Right, they said, it's just a fad, you're going through it. But what happened was, I'm going to tell you for me, what started me with rapping, first time I went to a concert, I saw Sundance. Me and Sundance was in Holy Cross Catholic School together. And I look on stage, I'm like, is that Leon? Yeah, tell you the truth. I was like, is that Leon on stage?
Homeroom with him.
Yeah, like, is that Leon? And I'm looking how he's rocking the crowd. I'm like, wow. I'm looking at the power that he had, because once you grab that mic, what I say go, and everybody's looking at me. So I seen Leon do it. While Leon's on stage, I'm behind the ropes with Disco King Mario. And he had a mic sitting on the turntable. And I'm like, wow. And I picked it up, and I said, yo, and I just went, one. And everybody turned around like, oh, and I dropped the mic. I dropped it because I wasn't prepared, but the adrenaline that I got from me just picking up that microphone, I said, you know what Leon got that I ain't got. And I went home and started writing my rhymes. And it's funny, that first battle that I ever had was at 69 Park. I told you about that in your tape show when Frisky Frisk came at me and I was walking with Bambaataa and we had 10,000 people behind us. And,
yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah, they like, yo, 69 Park. And Frisky comes out of nowhere. Frisky Frisk was down with the Sound Masters of Castle Hill, which was also Just Ice was one of them. And Frisky ran up to Bam, yo, I heard you got some new MCs. I heard you got some new MCs. I want to battle him. I want to battle him. And Bam's like, yo, B, it's your first battle. At that time, 500 people in the park.
He was pointing at you?
He was pointing at me. At that time, 500 people in the park felt like Madison Square Garden. It was just crazy. I'm like, I'm on the spotlight. It's okay. Here's my turn. And he throwing 7 minutes of funk.
This was your first ever battle.
First ever battle.
You weren't even a part of Zulu or anything yet.
I was originally member. I just got down with Soul Sonic Force.
Okay, so you were in the force.
I was ready with the force.
But you hadn't gone outside of.
Going outside.
Okay.
And now here's my first battle.
And he called you out.
He called me out. It was comical because I let him go first. He played on 7 minutes of funk and he said his little rhyme. And I said my rhyme. And I set the whole crowd on fire. And they're like, oh, boom. And I'm like, okay, I was just rhyming, but everybody went ecstatic. They're like, oh my God, he burnt you. Like, you know, I kids you.
Yeah.
Get out of here, he burnt you.
Yeah.
I guess that was the birth of me, Master.
Geechee, you think that tape exists?
I wish it did.
That sounds almost like too early. You know what I mean?
What year was that?
1977, 69 bars.
Wow.
That was off the block.
And remember, Jazzy 5, Jazzy 4 wasn't even formed yet. This when I was a member of Soul Sonic Force.
Right.
When this happened.
Right.
And that was the birth of me, and that's how I got my stripes. Then I just started doing more and more, and before you know it, we wanted to form our own, and me and Ice formed Jazzy 4.
Yeah.
Came Jazzy 5, and remember the first way we started to write rhymes was TV commercials. I'm gonna let you know right now. See, the way we formatted music, a lot of times it was all new to us. What intrigued me about rap, it was a game of words.
Yeah.
And how you mix and match, and how you have to learn to say everything in 8 bars, and 16. And in those 8 bars, you have to learn to get your whole point across in 8 bars. And then 6, so it was a test. It was a game to me, but it was a game that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize with rap, what we did, we gave people a voice. We gave young people from the hood, inner city, in the hood, who didn't know how to speak for themselves, who didn't know how to express their views or their opinions or their emotions. We gave you now a platform.
Right. This was their outlet now.
This is now you have an outlet.
Anything that was going on around them.
And the funny thing is, I look at rap today, and people don't realize a lot of people listen to these guys. A lot of people listen to music going on today, and you don't realize you're a very powerful person when you have the microphone in your hand.
Right.
People listen to you, the message you purvey, whether it be negative or positive, people will listen to you.
It's a powerful platform.
It's a very powerful platform. We went from nothing, a trip to White Castle, to now it's $1 billion industry.
Trillion global. And let me tell you something. You know what else was powerful at that time? We're going to get to Master B in a second, but you know, the reason why I gelled with Geechee so much is because I have this weird addiction to tapes. Because if you came up, I grew up. I was born in '76, so I grew up in the '80s in New York. Boom boxes and cassettes were just everything. That's the only way you would have access to a DJ or a park jam. Geechee, tell us, because we're going to play them.
Yes.
Tell us what rare jams you brought with you today that we're going to air.
Right now, I got it queued up where we're going to play the Jazzy 5 MCs with DJ Jazzy J, and they're in Paterson, New Jersey. This was 1982. So we're going to play a portion of that. I also got a tape of them at in Brentwood, Long Island, New York, in 1982 or 80, might be 81 or 82. And it's you and D, and I think Freeze and you and D was with Red Alert.
Okay.
Right.
In Brentwood.
Red Alert was DJing.
With DJ, yeah, Red Alert was DJing. And I got that. Plus, I got a bunch of CDs here, right here. I'm gonna donate one.
Yeah, Geechee. I mean, just so people know, because we're trying to. Geechee Dan is the Hip Hop Museum's audio archivist. He archives, the history of hip hop from an audio perspective. Where not you, but where would one find these types of tapes back in the day? So when they did these, types of jams and performances, if you were living at that time, where would one find that type of tape?
Back then, there was 2 individuals that were popular in selling tapes. Tape Master from the Bronx, rest in peace to Tape Master, and Red Alert. Red Alert taped all the Zulu Nation parties. Tape Master taped all the Cold Crush Ford parties. And they were selling tapes at the Record Den on Tremont back in the days, like they were like records, like vinyl. They were selling tapes,
right?
And at that time, the cars, the cabs, used to play the tapes. So when
Yellow cabs?
No, the OJs, the OJ
class cars.
Yeah, the OJ, touch your class, the OJs. They used to play the tapes in the car. So when people would go from one place to another. They play the tapes like vinyl, like the new. This is the new shit that's out.
Right,
this
right,
is the new
right,
tape that's out.
Right.
So that's how the tapes got around. Throughout the Bronx, throughout the city, and ultimately throughout the East Coast. And I started collecting tapes back when I was 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, me too.
So at that time, I was just getting snippets.
Right.
I was getting 10 minutes of an hour tape. And I was getting my tapes from, they was playing them on the radio.
Yeah.
Africa Islam.
So you were taping the radio.
I was taping the radio.
Me too. Pause tapes.
And as I got older,
right,
then I started finding out, wow, there's more than 10 minutes of this.
Right.
There's a whole hour. There's 2 hours.
Right.
And as I said, as I got older, I started getting in more heavy.
Wait, that's really rare. Tapes. Who'd you say was playing the tapes on air?
Africa Islam from Zulu Nation. On Zulu Beats.
The tapes
he was playing the tapes
on a radio show on BLS.
No, HBI. WHBI 105.9.
What year do you think that was?
This was 81, 82. Shit. Mr. Magic used to play tapes on HBI. And the world famous Supreme Team show.
Yeah, well, everyone knows about the world famous Supreme.
And they were the only ones playing tapes. And BAU college radio in the Delphi University, what I was down with.
Right.
They started playing Long Island jams.
Right.
So that was my way of getting snippets of the tapes. And by 1985, I already had about 50 tapes already. Mm-hmm. So I was, making a little noise in Queens.
Uh-huh.
And then as I got older, I started running into different individuals. Troy L. Smith, Randy Duke, my man Big Bob that just recently passed away. Rest in peace, my man Big Bob. Tape Master B in Queens. Myself and who else was to make... That was pretty much it.
Would you agree that without these tapes, we wouldn't have audio evidence of what hip-hop was like prior to the commercial industry? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Master B, D, sorry. Master, so I'm going to probably do that 100 times for the rest of the show. Sorry, Master D. So, Master B came into Zulu Nation quite early on.
Right.
Okay, and kind of started rapping at 75, but then, really, I guess, went pro in 77. Right. Okay, for you, what was your introduction to hip hop, and like who might have influenced you to first pick up a mic?
Well, actually, it was these brothers. I mean, because when you lived in Soundview was like so isolated from the rest of the Bronx. I mean, we had our own little thing going on in Soundview. So whether it was like the entertainment going on, whether it was the movie theaters that we used to go to in the area, I mean, we didn't venture too far off. So when these brothers was throwing down, I mean, I would always be out there. But let me tell you something about me. I didn't really, when I got into the game, it was more so as a singer. I never really wanted to rap. Rap was something that was like farthest from my mind. What I used to do was, I was that guy that was at Sunday school, you know what I mean? I used to go to church, my father was a gospel singer, so I always had that singing background. So if you ever listen to Jazzy Sensation, the Bronx version, the long version, there's a part in there where I say, rapping on the microphone is my pet peeve. And that's only because, nothing against rap, because I came to love it later on as we came into the group. But the thing is, at that time, all I wanted to do was sing. So
you could tell that from you guys' routines. It sounds like 5 rappers who just want to be R&B singers. Right. You know what I mean? And maybe they, you know what I mean? They're like, well, this is what's going on at the time. You know what I mean? So you like fell into that lane. But I gotta say, of all of the groups back then, Cold Crush and you guys and Soul Son, you guys were far and away the most harmonic.
Right. And gotta include the Force MCs.
Yeah, true. Force MCs.
There was another one.
Right.
There was another.
True.
Yes.
But I thought that always sets you guys apart. Was that something you guys intentionally went for as a kind of more melodic sound versus...
So. I think so, because when I started out, I was with a group called the Devious 3. And that group consisted of AJ Les, and then there was another partner in our group. And we were part of a crew called the Rockzilla crew. And that crew was a Soundview crew. So we used to do parties out in the park. You know, we used to do our little local thing. Jazzy 5 already had a name for themselves. Well, actually, they were the Jazzy 4. But these guys already had a name. So we used to go out, you know, do our thing. But I've always admired them from a distance. So when we had the Devious 3, we had like a little sing-song style coming because I was doing my little rapping and singing, and then the rest of the guys would just, you know, come in and do what they had to do, you know, as far as the rapping is concerned. One day we did a show at Kips Bay Boys Club. Jazzy 5, they had me come in as a guest MC. So I came in, we rocked the show. That night, the guys had came up to me. We was at a party, a house party in Soundview after that show. The guys had asked me if I wanted to be a member of the group, and that's how everything came to be. And it was funny how it happened because that night I knew I wanted to say yes, but I let it linger for a little while. I said, you know what? I'm gonna let these guys sit on this. I said, you know what? I'm gonna think about this. I knew I wanted to say yes at that time, you know, but you know how Freeze can be. Freeze was real persistent that night. He was like, man, come on, man. You know you want to say yes. You know you want to. So after a while, man, I just said, you know what? I'm down. Before the night was even over, before we even parted ways, I said, you know
that
what?
night
I'm down,
you
man.
finally had enough beers to be like, all right, fine.
I said, let me stop playing.
And did that night it literally go from the Jazzy 4 to the Jazzy 5? Was that the moment?
Yeah, it was.
You brought AJ Less with you, right?
Charlie Chu was still down at that time. And then later on, Charlie Chu had left. We had another member. He had left, and then I brought AJ Less in. But we voted on it. It was a vote.
So that was a moment that night. Rest in peace, Mr. Freeze. We're actually going to show a nice video interview with him.
My part of it.
You know, where he's talking about Soundview. We'll show that a little bit later in the show. But first, let's listen to. No. Let's not listen to anything yet. Let's look at some pictures. We got so much to play and show. Let's scroll through these pictures, DZ, and have them kind of describe them. All right, tell us what we're looking at, you guys.
Wow.
Where was this? Why are y'all so happy?
Wow. That was
Look at those jeans.
That was Savoy Manor.
Savoy Manor.
Down the Bronx on 149th.
Savoy Manor, 1980.
1980.
And if you see me with the white glove there, I was a big Michael Jackson fan.
And was this on stage right here?
No, that was behind. See, you know, I know it's Savoy because Savoy had the gold curtains. Savoy has.
So this is behind stage, and then they would open the curtains. This is
right,
you.
That's behind the stage. Like you had a little section where you could take pictures at. And we all together went in the corner, took a picture. Look, I look at the times. Look how tight our pants were.
It's back to that style again, actually.
Yo,
everything comes back.
Yeah, you know, and
everything.
Yeah, show another one of those pictures. We got a bunch of these. These were all sent in from Master Ice. A more recent picture, you guys.
That was 2016. We just got awarded plaques from Ruben Diaz for being the first hip hop group in the Soundview section.
Yeah, that was in Soundview Park.
That was in Soundview Park.
It's a nice picture.
2016. That's MC
Sundance up top.
Okay.
That's Master Ice's brother. He rest in peace.
Look at those jackets you guys have on down on the bottom.
Yeah.
Do you think those jackets still exist somewhere?
Man,
they floating around somewhere.
They in jacket heaven.
Jacket heaven. What else you got?
I mean, because
neither one of us have.
Ooh, look at this. I love old classic flyers. A super blowout for ladies. The Jazzy 5 MCs.
1981.
1981.
You know what's strange? To be at our age now and to see, it's a beautiful thing to have history of when you were a teenager.
Right.
And you see how funny we look as kids. I'm like,
what do you think made this flyer, though? Because this is clearly not a Phase 2 or a Buddy Esquire. This looks like...
That's definitely not Buddy Esquire.
Not
Buddy Esquire had a certain...
That was put together. That was...
That's press type. So this is this when you would rub the type down.
Yeah, that was
right.
Yeah.
Remember that? Okay, Electric Boogie. Oh, okay. Tell me about these tapes, guys.
This was later on.
Yeah,
This had to be 80...
St. Andrews High School in the Bronx.
What do you think, 83? Early 83?
Probably like...
Andrews, I think that's 83.
Yeah, this is 83.
I think I got that. I got
see
that part.
The
that
DJ, yeah, you don't see Jazzy J on there, so that had to be 83.
Right.
Okay, go to the next image.
Who was your DJ then in 83?
We were like, in 83, we were going between Easy Trick, then we had another DJ, a DJ Holiday at that time, so we were like going back and forth between those two DJs.
Okay.
Holiday, okay.
Can I say something? Because I got it. I can't hold on to it. The reason why Jazzy J and a lot of us broke up, all right? When we made Jazzy Sensation, we might as well tell the truth right now.
Yeah.
When we made Jazzy Sensation, the group was Jazzy J, Red Alert, and the Jazzy 5.
Indeed.
That is the name of the group.
True indeed.
All of a sudden, when we seen this white man standing in the stage in Bronx River in 1980, like, who's this dude? Oh, they want y'all to make a record. Y'all gonna be the first record for the Zulu Nation. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's Tom Silverman, a.k.a. Tommy Boy.
Right.
And what happened was, we were chosen to be the first record out of the Soul Sonic and out of Cosmic Force. It was Jazzy 5. So we went and did Jazzy Sensation, but when the actual print came out, it said Africa Bambaataa in the Jazzy 5, not Jazzy J, Red Alert in the Jazzy 5. That caused controversy right there. Because, you know, we all were Zulu Nation, but we were Jazzy J. But that's where the Jazzy 5 came from, Jazzy J.
And that was the beginning of our breakup with with our family, with Jazzy J. You know, because you look at the name.
Did Jazzy J think y'all had something to do with it?
You know, we didn't have something to do with it, but he felt some kind of way that Bam did this to him without even informing him. And Bam, your group was Soul Sonic Boss. Jazzy and Red Alert, we were Jazzy 5.
We were named after Jazzy J.
For you to put Africa
Jazzy
Bambaataa in the Jazzy 5 and not Jazzy J. Right. Shout out to Jazzy J, I love you, man.
Word.
For you to do that to Jazzy J, Jay felt some kind of way. And that started people going like...
And did that create a rift between them?
Started people going different ways. Same thing, and started rift like with Red Alert. A lot of things happened where we just started falling apart.
Yeah.
And it hurts us because none of this was our doing.
Right. There was a lot of things that happened that were beyond our control. I mean, because from the time Tom Silverman came down there to Bronx River, saw us perform, said he wanted us to do that record, Jazzy Sensation. From that point, we were in the studio within that week.
It was that quickly. Tom Silverman saw you, said, I want to do that record, and within a week you were in the studio recording it. I mean, this is a perfect time. DZ, this is actually the third video down. It says J5 number 3. Rest in peace, Mr. Freeze. So let's listen to a piece of this record, their biggest single, which actually broke the industry, hip-hop industry, wide open, because it was the first single on Tommy Boy Records, which would become a pretty prolific record label that we're all now familiar with. Let's take a listen to Jazzy Sensation, the big single from the Jazzy 5.
To rock the house with the greatest of these, the masters ID. I'm Les and Mr. Freeze. So come on, y'all, let's go to work with Bambaataa, Jazzy J, and Red Alert. With others, we form the Zulu Nation. Now check us out with our Jazzy Sensation. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Our Jazzy Sensation. Now I'm the master ice and I'm twice as nice. I am the dedicated prince of the disco slides. As you can see, I'm rolling it up as the Romeo rock of the microphone. Well, I'm the master D.E.E., so what it be? Rapping on the microphone is my pet peeve. An Aquarius man with a potent style, and every time I rap, it's on up worthwhile. They call me Master B, and that is true. Like the grass is green and the skies are blue, but I'm telling you that I will survive, cause I'm the microphone chief of the Jazzy 5. And I'm AJ Les, and I'm so unique, and it would be a treat to hear me speak. I'm a Leo man with the master plan, holding all the girls in the palm of my hand. And I'm Mr. Freeze, and to tell you the truth, that my quality ranks about 100 proof. And for all of y'all who like to duplicate, I had to return to set the score straight.
What up, what up, what up?
I'm here back here with Chuck Freeze.
Yes, indeed.
Last we talked, you were saying something about the dirt bikes y'all had. You was like 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yes,
and then I thought later that's like a Soundview, that became like a Soundview tradition with the bikes back there, right?
Yes, indeed.
Because all them dirt mounds back there, dirt piles, right?
What up, what up? What up, what up, what up? What up, what up? The killing fields is in the back. It's like 20 miles of straight fields. So you like, the project used to be so wild with the gangs and everything. That was our escape to get away from the hood.
Right.
So what we would do is like, we would get these bike frames and we would go to the private houses. We would steal their lawnmowers. We would take the blade off, take the engine off, and put it on the bike frame and put a chain on it. And that's how we would get out the hood. That's how actually we were able to come to Bronxdale, Bronx River, and everywhere else. That was our travel.
Yeah, that's ill. So like Soundview Park was a lot of undeveloped
lot back there, right?
Yes, we called it the Killing Fields. It's known all over the United States as the Killing Fields.
All right. So that's when you 10, 11, 12 years old. So when did, give me the history of the Jazzy 5.
Well, it's funny because they put some pictures on Facebook. I mean, when I was like 14, even though I look like I'm 19 and shit. And that was right before I got with the Jazzy 5. Actually, I was like a solo artist. My thing was, I used to just rock with everybody.
Right.
Whoever the music was at, I was to go and get it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I rocked with the Rockzilla crew back then. We had the Sly Brothers. And with the bikes and everything, that's how we got cool with Mario. And Mario started coming to the hood, eating up my cereal in my house and all that.
Oh, yeah? He was coming to your house eating cereal?
Yes,
yeah?
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Wow. The Rockzilla crew, I heard of that. Who tell me more about that, the Rockzilla crew.
Okay, the founders of Rockzilla crew was DJ Africa Kwame, DJ Warlock, and my man Ike. Ike actually is the one who actually owns Gold Records right now.
Okay.
But he was down with us with the original Rockzilla crew. Kwame used to build speakers. At that time, like the gang scourge was like really strong. It was kind of hard to bring your equipment out because the cops were feeling like we were a menace, so they would take your equipment.
Right.
So what we started doing was Kwame used to bring all his speakers and the equipment on the roof.
Okay.
And we used to perform on the roof, and it used to be so funny because when we used to perform on the roof, you would see the cops circling the projects. They're looking for this music, but they couldn't find it.
So Rockzilla crew, what years was that?
Whoa, 75, 76.
75, 76.
Yeah.
And what was it? That was a hip hop crew, or what was that?
Straight hip hop.
Straight hip hop?
It was a bunch of us. It was maybe about 8 MCs, about 5 DJs.
Wow.
And we used to do like all the high school proms, the female high schools and stuff like that, Scanlon, Aquinas, stuff like that. That's what we really got known for doing, like the high school jams.
So Rockzilla was before Jazzy 5?
Yeah.
Yeah? So was they breakdancing? Were y'all breakdancing at all?
Little, we was mostly spitting and DJing, doing graffiti and stuff like that.
So you saying y'all was rhyming in 76?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
I was one of the MCs. Me, my man Crazy Dave, you know, Sundance used to rock with us too. And Master Ice came in too.
Over break beats, or what people say it was disco music y'all was MCing to? What was it?
It's a mixture.
Mixture.
Some of the break beats, some was break beats, but some was disco beats that were like breaks. Like El Coco with Coco Motion,
right.
The break part on No Stopping, the Fat and Whitehead and stuff like that.
Okay.
Frisco Disco.
Okay. All right, so this is before Jazzy 5.
Yeah.
Godzilla crew.
Yeah.
And
That's how I got down with the Jazzy 5, because they seen what I was doing with them.
Wow, so they was mainly rocking in Soundview.
All over, really. But Soundview was our base. See, Kwame was a perfectionist.
Okay.
Kwame wanted to make everything right. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we would practice on the roof like every day.
Okay.
We'd go on the roof and they'd bring the system up there and we perform. Like I said, the police used to harass us, but when we put it on the roof, they couldn't find us no more. So even over here in Bronxdale, you would hear the music, that if you go to look for it, you wouldn't find us unless you knew what building we was in, what roof we were on.
So I guess the Jazzy 5 MC saw you doing that. Who saw you?
It wasn't no Jazzy 5 at that time. It was the Jazzy 4.
Jazzy 4.
It was the Jazzy 4 and with Queen Lisa Lee. She was part of the group also before she got with Cosmic and everything like that.
Lisa who?
Lisa Lee from the Zulu Nation, the first
right.
MC.
Where's she from?
Zulu Nation, Lafayette.
She from Lafayette.
Yes, she lived in the same
building. So you said,
LG.
wait, she was down with
Africa Bambaataa.
Before that though, she was
down with the Jazzy 4.
Oh yeah.
With us, and then they Sundance quit. I came in and I said, well, it's not gonna be the same as it was because it ain't gonna be no Jazzy 4+1 like no Funky 4 shit. So that's when it became the 5.
And what year was that?
That was, we'll say 78.
78. I didn't know Rockzilla and go that far back like that.
Yeah. Way back. This is when this backstage was popping. This
right?
When everything was really jumping off. And every group, like the Rockzilla, it's like 50, 60 people. You know what I mean? So we were like a gang too. We had that many people to make sure that we could go perform and get home safely.
Rockzilla was a crew with the group.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. 50, 60.
And everybody it's just like the Bronxdale cats. Kwame, everybody was into the karate and the kung fu at that time and shit. And We was just trying to make a way, man. We was trying to come outside and do some good music and do what we do.
Property and all the family that is overseas. In the 20th century, we can still survive. To the Jazzy vibe, get your butts out on the floor. Cause we got the songs galore. And the Jazzy vibe MCs, and we ain't giving you more. What you marking for? We know I am the master ice. And you know that a voice is like twice as nice. I'm the dedicated prince. It's no slide, cause I'm the master ice. And I am the master D. Master D. Girl, that's me. I spent all the young ladies on the Master D. Cause he's the Master D. And I am the Mikey D. Mikey D. I was going down in history. From this point on now, I'm the Jazzy vibe MC. He's the Mikey D. And I am the Elias. And the road to rock the bass. Rock the bass. Rock any goddamn right from right to left. Neither it ain't less. And I am the Mr. Free. Mr. Free. For the guys and the young ladies. Young ladies. Everybody in start to clap because we are the kings of the body rock rap. So everybody come check out the vibe. Jazzy vibe, we're the best alive. And when we rock, we can't be stopped. And all your other MCs take a hop. Our names are at the top of the list. And we're the best MCs that can ever exist. So let's party till you can't no more. And if you can't, just walk out the door. But if you could, you deserve a crew. And like the five MCs from Soundview, we're the ones divided, reunited. Here we go, you know we.
Oh my God! Rest in peace, Mr. Freeze. That's an incredible snippet. Time capsule. Talking about the Soundview projects there in the Bronx. If you're just tuning in, I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision and the Hip Hop Museum, with my guest host, the one and only tape god, Geechee Dan. Hello, sir.
Yes.
And we are with two of the 5 members of the Jazzy 5, Master D and Master B. Guys, thanks for being with us.
No problem, man.
So tell us a little bit about Mr. Freeze. He was a really, integral part of the group, and you were talking about how, that's your man and stuff like that.
We was talking about him in the car.
Tell, give us a little story there.
Freeze was my partner. We were like brothers.
Yeah.
To the point where my mother and his father don't keep them boys together, nigga. They always get in trouble. Need them, keep them away from each other. Every time we get a call, either this one locked up or that one locked up.
Yeah. Freeze was my brother and my protector.
Me and Freeze, we would talk about it in the car, like you just said. Out of the 5, out of Jazzy 5, Ice, D, and Les were like, y'all stay over there, because they weren't about what we were doing. But me and Freeze, with the Zulus and Gestapo, and we the wild ones. We're the ones that set it off. We're the ones that protect them. We're the like, y'all ain't doing that. We was the ones that was always getting caught and going to jail. But nah. What's up with that dude right there? Nah, bro, leave him alone. He ain't about that life. He just want to sing. Just leave him alone. Yeah.
Freeze used to tell me that all the time.
Just want to sing. Just leave him alone. And Left and Ice, it was just basically me and Freeze were always the one that step up front, always the one get in trouble, always the one protecting, always the one fighting anybody in Soundview. And we will protect anybody. Anything outside of Soundview, if any kids are going anywhere, the mothers be like, y'all take care of them, y'all protect them. And we had no choice, we had to protect them.
And who was kind of instrumental in, have your guys' routines? So in terms of putting together the routines and kind of there's usually always one guy in the group that's kind of like a director or kind of helping keep things organized. Who was that for you guys?
That was Ice.
Yeah.
Master Ice.
Master Ice.
Everything together. He was the organizer out of the crew. And anytime I had an idea, I would come to the group, but it was always Ice first, because when we had rehearsals, they were over at Ice's house. If we weren't rehearsing at Jazzy's, we were rehearsing at Ice's house. So I would come with Ice and I would present him with the idea, and then everybody would come into practice and we would just start expounding on it. Everybody just throw in. And one thing about us...
Can we throw up Master Ice's picture on the screen there, DZ? Just since we're talking about him, and maybe we'll get him on the line here.
Okay, yeah, about to
There he is.
And one thing about this, my brother, and one thing about us, there was never no one guy that dominated the group. We were like, we always said we were 5 equal parts. And it's true because, you know, even though I sang, you know, when it came down to actually putting the songs together, everybody was like, okay, this needs to go here. We need to put this in here. I want to say this. I want to say that. There was times that, I mean, it got a little heated. It was intense. But at the end of the day, the finished product was what you guys hear. On these tapes.
And here we had routines on top of routines.
Well, from what I understand, that's kind of why you were chosen for this record that we have here on set. You know, oh, we're not on camera, easy. But you know, this is the actual, you know, Tommy Boy record right here, the actual Jazzy 5 Jazzy Sensation record with this staff softball jersey from Tommy Boy Records and some of the other things that the label went on to do. But without further ado, let's get Master Ice on the phone, okay? And while you're dialing him up there, Geechee Dan, I want to send a big shout out to birthofhiphop.com and Cortez McKay. Birthofhiphop.com is an incredible media content company that is preserving the stories and the history of hip-hop. And they were here filming our last induction last month with DJ Scribble and Charlie Stetler, the great manager, and now they're in the building here with us today. And I also want to give a big shout out to TrueHeadsClothing.com with all of these fat lace hats. Hey, DZ, you want to bring up Master Ice on
the phone right now?
On the phone?
He's on the phone.
He's on the...
I got the aux on.
Yep. You got your volume all the way up there?
Go ahead.
Hold on, Ice. Okay.
Say something.
All right, say something. Take him off speak.
There we go. Hey, Master Ice, how you doing?
Who is that?
This is Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of the Hip Hop Museum, with your 2 brothers, Master D and Master B.
So what now?
You are live on the air for the Jazzy 5's Hip Hop Induction Ceremony.
A radio station?
Hey, yo, Ice. Is this Ice?
Who?
Oh, I must have called the wrong number.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious. Like got the Jerky Boys over here.
Back then, basically, there was no hip hop because it didn't exist. But really, the roots of hip hop were club music and were disco, and guys like Kool Herc. He was playing breaks, but the breaks were from disco records. They weren't from or from any kind of records, but basically it was the same. Everything was the same. So you know, basically when rap started to be recorded, the records that the rappers would want to rap over were usually records that I had been playing, DJs had been playing as disco records. So you know that's where the breaks were from, and you know basically if you go to you know even Rapper's Delight, you know Good Times was being played at Paradise. I mean it was all the same thing. There was no break between what was club music and what rappers were rapping over. They were rapping over club records. I mean, you know. So basically, Tom said, "What do you know?" He had a group. He had this guy Africa Bambaataa who had like 3 groups: and Cosmic Force, Jazzy 5, Soul Sonic Force. So the Jazzy 5 were the most together at the time, and we went in and I went in with a band. I went in with Andre and T-Funk and all the guys who played on Happy Days. And we, you know, Bambaataa came in and we had all these records and we, you know, which one do you want to rap over? And basically back then you would try to take a current record that was sort of hitting the charts and you'd do a rap over it, like another version of it. And at the time there were 2 that we were thinking of, Genius of Love, Tom Tom Club, and Funky Sensation by Gwen McCrae. And basically, I figured that someone else was going to do Genius of Love, and there were like 3 versions that came out. So we picked Funky Sensation, and we called it Jazzy Sensation, and that actually sold. I have it, so I could play a little bit, but that sold for Tom like 50,000 records, and you know.
Put the label on the map, more or less.
It totally put
Wow, 50,000 records for the very first single on the tiny.
Mr. Magic played it, right?
Who played that when it came out? What was your first memories?
Mr. Magic. I remember being in Soundview when the record came on the radio, and man, that was a It was like surreal, man.
You
Just
actually were standing by a radio when it played?
I heard it, yes.
And what was your thought? That's pretty
it was just
surreal.
crazy, man. It was surreal. I couldn't believe it, man. It was just a shock for me, man. I didn't think it was going to happen that fast. And how long did it take for that record to even play?
For me, you seen the movie The Five Heartbeats?
Yeah.
You remember when the guy was in the back room laying down and the guy in the kitchen said, yo, turn that down. He said, what you talking about? I ain't playing it. That's exactly what happened to me. I'm in the kitchen getting ready to go to work. I thought my brother's in the back playing a song. I'm in the kitchen with my mother. She's cooking breakfast. I'm hiding my clothes. I said, yo, turn that down. Who you talking about? I ain't turning it. I said, yo, man, I'm playing that. And we didn't know that we had the radio on very low, like 1 or 2. I looked at my mother. We turned the radio on. Every time I tell the story, I get teared up. We turned the radio on, and our songs on the radio. And my mother, I said, Mom, I told you we was gonna make it. I told you tears came out of our eye, tear came out of our eye. The whole Soundview project erupted.
At that moment?
Erupted. Pointing to our window. They made it. I mean, you never heard a whole project erupt. Wow. And everybody erupting. Yeah, they want to.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
Wow.
And every time I get goosebumps, I get tears in my eyes because the way D said, we didn't think. Cause remember, if you really want to get technical, Jazzy Sensation was like either the 12th or the 13th rap record ever made.
I wouldn't even put that many out at that time. I didn't know there was even that many.
I didn't even know it was that
many. Fat back then, King Tim III.
Yeah.
Then it was Sugar Hill Gang. Then it was Spoonie G. Then it was Grandmaster Flash. Funky Four. Then it was Treacherous Street, Feel the Heartbeat.
Curtis Blow,
Then it was Curtis Blow with the break. Then it was Funky Four, but That's the Joint.
Right.
Crash Crew. And then we came.
What do you think a white Jewish guy from New York, for a genre that didn't really even exist? You know, Sylvia Robinson was already in music, so to me that made sense that she's scooping, you know, my business partner, Master G, literally off the street. Like literally kidnapping him in her limo, scooped him up off the street. He tells me that story. But like, you know,
crazy.
for like a guy with like Tom, who clearly had some money at the time, you know, what do you think made him think hip-hop was not just a fad? Do you think Rapper's Delight had something, the huge success of that record? Or?
Well, my thing was this. I knew for a fact that at the time the record labels were controlled by the white men. There's only one black owner, and that was MC Light's father, worked in Atlantic Records.
First Priority.
Right. So at the time, they keep hearing and word's going around, there's something going down in the Bronx. They doing something down there, man. We need to know what's going on because people that bop to this music and we don't know what the hell is that music they playing down there. They bopping down there. They got the street light plugged up. I mean, I don't know what they doing, but they're making something happen. There's a buzz in the Bronx. So now you start people seeing it coming to the Bronx. Enjoy records, and now they started recruiting people for music. And now they just come to the Bronx. Now they're in Bronx and Harlem. Because Treacherous Street from Harlem. So now they're in the Bronx and Harlem. And Funky Four from University. So now they all over the Bronx trying to look for the new best thing. We like, at the time, when I saw Tom in Bronx River Center, the minute we walked in, this white nigga standing on the stage. I'm like, what this dude right here? I'm gonna tell you, I'm keep it raw. That's who I am. Who this white nigga standing on the stage? And they said, it's Tom Silver. Tom who? We just seen a one white dude standing in the Zoo Anniversary, which was unheard of.
Right, at that time.
At that time.
Yeah.
With this guy standing on the stage amongst all these murderers and robbers and
stick-up kids.
Kids.
Where was this?
Yeah, Bronx River Center.
Bronx River
Walking in Bronx River Center back then was like walking in the maximum security prison.
Right.
You felt the tension in the air. Listen, if you wasn't somebody that knew somebody, you don't need to be here because it was rough. It was like walking through maps. I mean, every gang member you named was in this party.
If you didn't know nobody,
you
definitely gonna get robbed.
So clearly someone tipped him off. Hey Tom, you got to go over here and see what these cats are doing.
To see Tom standing on the stage, little man,
stuck out.
Right, we like, what the hell is this dude? So at the end of the show, band pulled Tom in the back room, like I told you before when I battled Biggs, he put us all in the back room. He had Cosmic, he had Jazzy 5, and he had Soul Sonic, and he said, look, this is Tom Silverman. He's the owner of Tommy Boy Records, and I got good news for y'all. we're gonna make a record, and Jazzy 5 is gonna be the first one.
Who said that? Who said that?
Bambaataa said that.
And he pointed at y'all. There's 3 groups in the room, and he pointed at you guys. And was Arthur Baker right? You guys got the deal because you had more songs and routines and were more polished?
It was right, because when it came down to battling people, because we ran up against every geek to tell you, I don't care who it was, when it came down to routines, our routines are so tight. Plus, individually, we'll rip you. But when we get together, we're going to rip you. And we go on and on and on with routine. Like, damn.
Even coming down here, I'm listening to songs from back in the day that Geechee was playing, and I said, Geechee, I don't remember that routine. We had so many routines that we couldn't perform everything at each show. We had some stuff that we had to save for like a later date, but we had everything, and everything was tight. When we got on the stage, it was like a lot of groups did not want to go on after us.
Because you just had so much more
If you listen to all of our tapes, we were usually the last group on at all of our shows.
Well, let's listen to another one. I got it. Geechee's 1982 jam. We don't know where this is, do we?
Patterson, New Jersey.
This is the Patterson, New Jersey one?
Yeah, that's the yeah.
I don't know about that one.
No, that's what's in Brentwood.
All right. I think it is in Brentwood. I think
It's
you're
Brentwood.
actually right. DZ, it says J5 number 2. This is a Brentwood jam tape from 1982. Let's listen to some of these crazy
Might have been with
routines.
Red Alert.
With Red Alert? I think you're right.
You won't stop that body rock. Now I'm the dedicated prince of the disco slide. Who the hell you think you are? I'm the master ice. Where the hell have you been? Cooling out with my girl. Now I'ma show you that I'm the best MC in the world. The singing MC, like God, that's me. Who the hell you think you are? Well, I'm the master D. Where the hell have you been? I'm rocking it in far, and now I'm gonna show you all that I'm a singing star. Because I'm flowing like a butterfly, singing like a bee. Who the hell you think you are? Well, I'm the master D. Where the hell have you been? Just a cooler than I first to make a gas money. That's without a doubt. And I'm a presidential rapper with the bottom finesse. Who the hell you think you are? Well, I'm A-Man Less. Where the hell have you been? I say Egypt and China. Compared to my girl, there's no one finer. Well, I'm sitting on the top, making 15 G. Who the hell you think you are? Well, I'm the Mr. Free. Where the hell have you been? Oh, I've been overseas, staring up shop, rocking for the young lady. Yeah. Say what? That's right. We confessed in the place. We gonna tell y'all what we about. You know, Jazzy J, where you been at, man? We wanna know. Well, you were in Castle Hill, then you're in Monroe. You took your fly girl to a death disco. You went to a movie, you said you driving. Say what? Denny. Where the hell you been? What you got, y'all? I say clap your hands into the beat. Everybody, wake up, clap your hands. Come on. I say clap your hands into the beat. Everybody, clap your hands. Come on. You don't stop. You never won't. She rock the hip hop. She rock the hop. And rock the body rock and make it really go the grill. And shot so rock down. And get on up, nigga. These is the breezes down. The love, rock the play. Rock the highs and feel the bass. You know what? Just if you listen to me rap today, you'll be hearing the rhymes of the Charles Boucher. And if you witness me write them, don't you bite them. Alright, okay. I'm a presidential rapper with the bottom for next. I'm the qualified rocker. I'm AJ Les. And if you will agree that my rap is true, it's fresh, y'all. Fresh off. Thank you. Better listen to the sound of the master beat, cause I'm known to be the chief of the other MCs. And if you let me rap, you will agree that I'm the best, y'all. Best Mike, Jockey. I am the boss of the master D. So don't know anybody who sounds like me. I can take a funky rhyme and turn it into a song and make the ladies I sing along. Now I'm the master ice king of TLC, and I'm out in the sun to get every lady. But there's no girl that's fire than her. She's my lady. Silly, you don't stop. That body rock. That beat that'll really make you both to rock. That beat that beat. The one beat that really makes you wanna say what's the master ice is a gold pink lover. I'm the master ice and I'm a fire girl lover. The big beat top. Oh, Jazzy ladies, get up. Get that hot juice down, young ladies. You know that I'm the talk of the town. Now I don't mean to brag and I don't need to boast. Let me tell you all a little something about the host. I'm a ever loving, tender loving, hell of a guy. And to you ladies out there, you say you know what's fine. I'm like Romeo, I am the real McCoy. I'm like Don Juan, I am the first. I'm like a Billy D. Williams, I am a star. I'm like a Reggie Jackson with my own can. You put two together into one, and you play the master ice and I'm a second, and then the master ice is the gold pink lover. I'm the master ice and I'm a fly girl lover. The master D, my mellow man, let me see what you can do.
with the mic in your hand.
Yes, that's so I can really dress it up. Impress all the most that's me. La-di-da, that's me.
And he's rapping on the mic for all the young ladies.
Hey, young ladies out there, let me keep you on rolling. Before you wake up, the very next morning, girl, I had a dream. Did you have a dream of the man who make the ladies scream? That's me, baby doll, oh yes indeed. The masterpiece to give you what you need. And when you dream, you see me rap. But when the dream is gone, you'll surely clap. But let me tell you, girl, I'm not conceited. If you don't believe me, ain't might as well beat it. Yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't touch. You never stop the box to rock. Yes, y'all, it's the beat, y'all. Yes, y'all, it's the beat, y'all. It's the beat that makes you get funky. Not like the ass of a donkey. No King Kong, the oversized monkey. But like the break my neighborhood hunk. Say what, it's on the go. And Capricorns are the first to steal the whole. 3-5 with the best alive. We never taken the job, but goddamn, you know we will survive. With inflation, not segregation. Inflation, all over the nation. Inflation and poverty. And all the famine that is overseas. In the 20th century, we can still survive. With the Jazzy vibe. Get your butts out on the floor. Cause we got the songs below. With the Jazzy vibe MCs, and we're giving you more. And now I am the Master Ice. And I am twice as nice. I'm the dedicated pin to the crystal side. Cause he's the Master Ice. I am the Master D. La-di-da, ooh, girl, that's me. I say, oh, Jazzy ladies, love the Master D. Who are you? He's the Master D. I am the Master B. And I'm known as the microphone chief. And every time you hear me rap, you know it's a belief. He's the Master D. Now I am the AJS. And you know that I rock the best. And I can rock any goddamn mic from right to left. Say what, please, AJS. Well, I am the Mr. Free. All the guys and the young ladies are sitting on the top for making 15 G. Who are you? The party people in the place. With a smile upon your face. Rock your body at a steady pace with the best of life. So now that you heard our song, if you hear it again, sing along. I'ma tell you like this, there can never be anything wrong. Singing a song, we can never go wrong. You don't stop. That's part of right. So AJS, that's me. I'm the low. When you so, what you gonna do? Keep it on, girls to the break it on as I carry on, cause my rap is gone. I'm the freak from the east, the best with finesse. Say what they right on. You know my sex is check. And if you're in my bed, that's your best bet. Cause I go by the name of AJS. To all the blind girls, I bet my last dollar if you're in my bed. I'm thinking scream and holler. Making love, bitch, girls desire. And I am known as the hero behind you. I'm making you one hit, I ring your bell. Now to homeboys is where I am. The free talk, I heard you rock. Do it. Get on the mic and prove it to the rest that you have. That I got, that we have. That's such a finesse. I wanna hear your AJS, cause you know the class because I'm in first place. We're in first place, so we can never be last. The Jazzy vibe is on your ass, y'all. And Jazzy J got all the glass. Why you don't stop? And it's the body, rockin', it's the shore. Shot to make an age to rock. Say let me tell you all about the thing called life. Say why you have to get mad before you have a wife. You have to have sex before you have a kid. To win a bet, you must place a bid. And some people love and steal and rob. The best thing to do is get yourself a job. And once you start really earning the living, all the people will watch you. Most of the things you did before. And now you're mature and you do no more. And every day you used to steal the butt. And now you're here to rock the mic. For all the 5 girls who I'm in love with you. The ones that try to rap when the party is through. So bring out all the women, all the ladies, all the gentlemen, even the little kids. You got me chucking, nigga, luck. I'm gonna do it again to keep on and rock the house. Come on, say Jazzy J. And I'm gonna come on, Jazzy vibe. You know what? Come on. And I'm the Master Ice, Master D, the Master B, AJ, and I'm Mr. Free. You gotta keep on checking us out. You gotta keep on checking us out. Jazzy vibe, you gotta keep on checking us out. You gotta keep on checking us out. Everybody gotta keep on checking us out. You gotta keep on checking us out. Jazzy J, you gotta keep on checking us out. You gotta keep on checking us out. Alright, we wanna steal the show. We wanna steal the show. So let's rock the house. We wanna rock the house. We wanna rock the house until the Friday night. Rocking the house until people, we forgot to tell you about the people that we are the Jazzy Boys. That tonight I'm sure that we are the best alive. Fly girls, don't you ever mess with our hands, cause we don't take no job. And when we make it, tell a love it to you, fly girl, you know we will survive. Survival is our aim today, so listen as we talk. You need to head scoot on if you want to in a place we call New York. And we climb at us in your neighborhood, it's never safe to walk. And the kids that are living in our now, they are the people. Busting her ass, putting clothes on your back. You're standing on the corner, holding those lights, shining in a crack. Now tell me what kind of person are you doing that in this? It's better for you to go to school and be a high school whiz. So as we end our lesson up tonight, we hope you understand that it's better to be rock and roll. So be a mouse, be a man. So just listen everybody, listen everybody, listen up everybody, listen everybody. Cause we got us surprise, we got us surprise, Let's dance, come on and let's dance, everybody let's dance, beat it out, dancing to the beat. With the Jazzy 5 MCs and rock the funky beat, dancing to the beat. With the Jazzy 5 MCs and rock the funky beat. Now I am the master, I ain't so nice, and I'm a Jazzy 5 MC to rock the funky beat. I am the master D, and I'm a Jazzy 5 MC to rock the funky beat. I am the master B, and I'm a Jazzy 5 MC to rock the funky beat. I am the AJ Last, he's the best, and I'm a Jazzy 5 MC to rock the funky beat. I am the Mr. Free, and I'm a Jazzy 5 MC to rock the funky beat. Dancing to the beat, dance, Jazzy 5 MCs to rock the funky beat. Dancing with the voice of the Master Ice, young ladies, you know that I'm twice as high as keep dancing. Master D-E-E's, now tell me what girl, why don't you keep dancing? Well, like a butterfly stinging like a bee, cause I'm the microphone chief, I'm the master beat to keep dancing. Young ladies in the place, my name is AJ, so watch, give me a break, I keep dancing. With the Mr. Free, staring up, shop, rocking for the young ladies. I keep dancing. Jazzy popping up, ladies. Wanna get started? Say our names in order. Well, I'm the Master Ice, but you can call me Bernard. I'm just an MC trying to do my job. Well, I'm the Master B, but you can call me and don't forget about the money. And I'm the Master B, known as the microphone chief. And every time you hear me back, you know it's a me. And you can call me AJ, but they call me. He's the mic. He's the woman possessor. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about her. But he goes by the name of Charles Scrooge. Everybody get down. To what? To the funky sound. Ha, ha. Everybody get down. With who? With the best in town. So all the ladies, right on the fellas, who ready to do it? We got to tell ya, the Master Ice is in the house. So fly guys, you better watch your spouse, because I am the man with the master plan, and I'm a man and I'm a mouse. The Master D is in the house. Don't wanna fight or even toss. Say what, cause I have to get tough with my vibes and stuff. Yeah. I'm a man and not a mouse. The Master D is in the house. Check me out because I'm pulling up. And as you can see, I rock viciously. And now you know what the vibe is about. The HLS is in the house. It guaranteed to knock you on out. I got the style in for you, that's the beat. Cut that shit out. HLS screaming shout. Mr. Freeze is in the house. Why tell her this cause I'm in your blouse. Say what? You cry and pop cause it's the vibe. You got the crowd to turn it out. Now guys and young ladies, this is the Ice BB doesn't freeze. Jazzy, don't get mad since you been had by the Jazzy 5 MC. Say who? The Jazzy 5 MC. Say what? The Jazzy 5 MC. The Jazzy 5 MC. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The 5 MCs turn it out without a shot, guaranteed. So rock the house. DJ Jazzy J on the wheel and still cutting up shit with the necessary skill. AJ, let's go. We gonna do it. We gonna go into this thing called Jazzy Sensation. Oh, we gonna do it. Some people might not have it. Yeah. You know y'all heard it about 100 times. We're gonna give it to y'all again because we know the joint expression. We know y'all dig it.
And look out for our next record, Dancing to the Beat by the Jazzy
Shot. Oh yeah, coming out of March, Dancing to the Beat. Y'all, late March. Fresh with finesse, the sign of Aquarius throwing down. Yes,
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. You're watching a very special edition of Hip Hop in Action. I'm Jeremy Beaver, CEO and founder of Listen Vision Studios and the Hip Hop Museum, with my special guest host, Geechee Dan. And we have 2 of the 5 members of the Jazzy 5, Master D and Master B, are in the building. Guys, thanks for being with us.
Appreciate you.
We have now come to a very special part of the show. I got to be honest with you. I wanted you guys here at 2 because I knew we could probably talk for hours upon hours. We have to be off the air at 4. So without further ado, I'm going to execute the reason we are all here today. And here is the reason. All right, this is a very special induction ceremony moment has come right now. The Jazzy 5, hailing from Soundview Projects in the Bronx. The Jazzy 5 are Master D, Master B, AJ Les, Mr. Freeze, and Master Ice. As part of Africa Bambaata's extended family of MCs, which include the Cosmic Force and Soul Sonic Force, the Jazzy 5 came up under the tutelage of DJ Jazzy J, even getting their name from the legendary Zulu Nation DJ. The Jazzy 5 came from a larger collective that included Sundance, Hutch Hutch, Lisa Lee, Pow Wow, Mr. Biggs, Charlie Chu, and many more. The original group was called the Jazzy 4 and consisted of Charlie Chu, Sundance, Master Ice, and Master B. Sundance left to become a solo MC, and the crew picked up Mr. Freeze and Master D. Africa Bambaata was so impressed with the live performance of the Jazzy 5 that he approached them with an offer to make a record with Gwen McCrae's Funky Sensation as the musical backdrop. As a result, the Jazzy Sensation, credited to Africa Bambaata and the Jazzy 5, would become the first rap record released on Tom Silverman's burgeoning Tommy Boy Records. According to Master Ice, the Jazzy 5 as a group had more routine than Bam's other crews, and that was one of the deciding factors in them recording the first record. The group recorded Jazzy Sensation on Monday, and by that Friday, Mr. Magic was playing the song on the air. The group's association with Tommy Boy was short-lived, so promotion halted not long after Jazzy Sensation was released. But the Jazzy 5 are one of the greatest unsung rap groups in the history of hip-hop that ever originated in the era before rap records. Their influence has reverberated through the genre for decades, and I now have the great opportunity to induct these 2 gentlemen and Master Ice into the world's first and only hip-hop museum. All right, round of applause, everyone. All right, so here we go. Master B, your legacy and your musical career is something that has transcended decades and cities, states, and nations. Your record, as the first one on Tommy Boy Records, made a huge, gigantic opening for many, many other acts and songs and singles and rappers that came after you. Without your influence and your effect on hip-hop, I dare say we might not be where we are today, that multi-trillion-dollar global industry. It is my great honor to present you this award and induct you into the Hip Hop Museum, Washington, D.C. A couple words.
That's hot.
Wow.
That's nice.
See that, baby? You know, it's funny, when I started this game back in the 70s, it was a game of words, not realizing that what we really was doing was giving inner city kids a voice, a way to express their emotions, their feelings. A lot of people did not express what they were going through at that time. Rap gave people a voice and an outlet. And I'm just so grateful that after all these years and decades went past, that people actually acknowledge that what we've done, a lot of people died sensibly believing in this. A lot of people never made it. I mean, we don't have the financial status to say that we made it, but one thing you can't take away from the 5 is our memories, our impact, our routines. I'm just grateful to God that but still being recognized as a hip hop movement.
And you put Soundview on the map.
And we put Soundview projects
Word.
on the map. So I'd like to thank you for this. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.
Well, it's our pleasure. Round of applause, everyone. Round of applause for Master B. Okay. Okay. Now, one of the great pleasures that I have when giving these awards and inductions out is that in hip hop, unlike almost every other genre of music, there's been a lack of acknowledgement and appreciation for all of the things that these guys have done.
Yes.
So that when I bestow Master D with his induction award in their rightful place in the Hip Hop Museum, the largest collection of hip hop artifacts and memorabilia in the world, I want to send a big thank you to our historian, Jay Kwan.
Where he at?
He couldn't make it today.
Okay.
But I
Shout
want
out
to
to Jay Kwan.
thank him. You know, without Jay Kwan, we wouldn't have, you know, brilliant and accurate speeches like the one I just presented. Okay,
Yes.
so I want to thank him because he's also helping us as our historian recognize who are the most important people that should be honored and recognized. And Master D, I want to let you know that your routines and your confidence to create the music and the hip hop that you did at a time when no one else was creating that type of music is really, really special. And I really just can't say enough how much we thank you and we want to honor you with this award. So, Master D, it is my great pleasure.
That's ice right there.
That's ice right there. Let's take it. Let me just say this last word. I want to bestow upon Master D of the Jazzy 5 this induction, this award for his rightful place in the Hip Hop Museum.
Your ice.
Round of applause. Master Ice, how are you, my friend?
I'm cool. How y'all doing?
Oh, well, we're great. We just gave 2 awards to your brothers here, Master D and Master B.
Okay, well, that's cool. Those are my brothers.
Those are your brothers, and now you can put his picture up, DZ, maybe in a small place, not the whole screen, but a small place. Master Ice, I would like to digitally, with technology, give you your award. Okay, and you're gonna watch this back later. Okay, this is, if you want to zoom in here, DZ, this is Master Ice's induction plaque, an award for his role in the Jazzy 5 and creating not just a single on Tommy Boy Records that broke the hip-hop industry open, but creating all sorts of songs and routines whose like melody and cadence and lyricism last in hip-hop to this day. And if I had 2 more hours, I could tell you all the ways that even just Jazzy Sensation has been woven into 50 or 100 other major hip-hop singles. So Master Ice, with this award, I would like to induct you into the world's first hip-hop museum here in Washington, D.C.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very honored. We're very honored. It's crazy how we're from the Bronx, New York, and we get inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame out in Washington, D.C. first.
Yeah, right.
Well, got to start somewhere.
and that's the truth. That's why it's definitely appreciated. You know, and I cherish this for the rest of my life. Just the fact that, you know, when I said, you know, I'm a flyer, you know, and I posted on my social media site, and I got 150, you know, people congratulating me and us as a whole. We basically put the South Bronx, you know, on the hip hop map. I mean, as far as making rap records. First rap record on Tommy Boy Records. And just to say, you know, this is a blessing.
Master Ice, you're, from what I understand, a teacher and an instructor. Could you tell us a little bit about the educational aspect of hip hop and how you've been able to use hip hop as an educational tool?
Oh, definitely. Especially with today's music. The kids today, you know, for the most part, they're listening to the mumble. I call it the mumble crap. But basically, what I do is I'll play some old school, and so they'll be playing a song, and I'll hear a sample in it, and I'm like, I know that song, the original song, and I'll bring in the original song, and they get to hear it, and they're like, okay, and then I always use hip hop, my lyricists, my favorite lyricists, like Rakim and Biggie and Tupac and the rest of them, to let the kids see that they weren't just quote unquote rappers or gangsters. They actually use the English language because I actually teach English.
Oh, isn't that perfect and makes sense? When you have a mastery of rapping, I only just assume that you have a mastery of communication, right? Because isn't that what you were saying, Master B? That the microphone is powerful. Whatever you say on it, good or bad, gets into people's ears and minds.
You have a voice. And that's why we say use your voice wisely, because you can either influence people or incite people. I'd rather influence people with some good messages and positivity instead of inciting them with the negative and the gangster. Because, it's to the point, it's sad when you go past the radio and people mother's like, turn that off. That's garbage, turn it off. That ain't music, that's garbage. Now back in the day, they was having music. And that's what's going on now.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't agree with what's on the radio. You see how the whole world has changed, where it's accepted on the radio now, where back in the days that would not be accepted.
Oh, it would go against FCC standards. I don't know why it doesn't today.
So it just totally flipped.
Let me build off of that, though, because we have someone special here for you guys. Okay?
That's what's up.
There is one person who curated our entire museum. Okay? And she teaches at the Duke Ellington, in addition to being our curator, she teaches at the Duke Ellington School of the Performing Arts, the nation's only museum curation class. DZ, can we get or maybe Geechee, can you pass the microphone to Red Summer, who Hip Hop Museum's curator? Now, what we're going to do... Hi, Red.
Hi.
Hey, nice to see you. DZ, if we can get a camera on Red. What we're going to do right now is we are going to go to the donation that the Jazzy 5 are making via Jinx, the T-shirt King. Am I saying this all right today?
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah,
You got it.
Jinx.
At Jinx, Jinx, the Shirt King. That's on Instagram. Go find him. If we want to, Geechee, take that jacket down from behind you. This is something that's going to be preserved in the museum forever and always going forward. Holy cow, that's so freaking cool. Okay, Red, you want to take that out of the plastic there just so we don't get a glare on it. Let's look at this incredible, it's like a piece of art and hip-hop at the same time, and fashion. Shout out Jinx, you are really much appreciated. We also got some shirts of his. Oh my God.
That's dope.
That's... First of all, can you guys corroborate that this is kind of the type of style that was also worn, you know what I'm saying, at a certain point in hip-hop?
We all had a little bit of
we were wearing
right.
on point with this, because this is what we were wearing. This was the style back then.
Red, shout out to you
Thank you.
for being the most incredible curator any museum could possibly have. Hopefully we will be taking our pop-up experience to Atlanta during the next year while we're doing the build-out of our permanent location. Okay? But unfortunately we're running short on time here. We're going to have to get off air. But before we get off air, yeah, Geechee, can we show those t-shirts? So Jinx has really just hooked us all up here with like an incredible like t-shirts and jackets. Wow, that's really dope. Look at this.
Hey, Jinx is our brother from Soundview also.
Yeah. Right. Jinx is from
big shout out to Geechee. Big shout out to Geechee for keeping the hip hop story alive. The true hip hop story alive.
Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Man. Thank you, man.
All right, so let's do this. Each one of us has 30 seconds to wrap this show up. Starting with you, Geechee, tell me your sentiments about what we've just experienced.
I'm just I'm just blessed that God put me in a position to do what I do with these tapes and reach out to the icons, because if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be no me. And so, and I'm just very humble that, like I said, that God put me in the right place at the right time and connected me with Freeze before he passed away. That was he was like a big fan of myself, and he always encouraged me, man. He always said, "Yo, man, you got something. Continue doing what you're doing, because you got something, man. That's iconic, you know. That's global, and we need more of you. We need more people of you to continue preserving hip hop and putting these tapes out there so people can appreciate you guys. You know, appreciate, you know, Freeze and, you know, Jazzy 5 and the rest of these hip hop icons that started a culture called hip hop, man. So,
and also, where can people find you on social media?
Well, I'm on Geechee NYC on Twitter. I'm on I got the tapes
on Facebook.
On Facebook, and Geechee Dan on Facebook, and on Instagram I'm on I got the tapes. On Instagram, so that's where you can find me.
And also from yours truly, I want to say thank you very much for creating this amazing relationship we have, where every single month we're doing something really special to commemorate and preserve hip hop. So I want to thank you from the Hip Hop Museum.
Man. Appreciate that.
Okay, Master B.
Yeah, bro.
Closing words on. Because first of all, let me just let you know, this is just the beginning. Okay, once we get the permanent location up, best believe you guys are all going to reassemble and do a show. So. This is just the beginning. Talk to me about, you know, what does this mean to you?
Well, this means to me, 40-something years later, that this means to me that what me and Ice and D and Les and Freeze, all the nights that we spent, especially me and Ice, because like I said, me and Ice are the oldest members of the group. And when it broke up, we didn't know what we was going to do. But God saw fit that Ice did his homework, and we put our ear to the ground and grabbed these three brothers, and we created something that no one can ever take away from us. You know, and it's funny because looking at these pictures and seeing us as young kids, teenagers, with a vision, where a lot of people didn't have a vision. We were the only ones on our side of the Bronx, and we put our side of the Bronx on the map. And it means a lot to us. Like I said, we may not have the financial statements to say that we did it, but one thing you can't take away from us is our memories, our fans, the people that still love us, the people that still remember us, and people like Geechee that's keeping our name alive. So that's, I told my lady, I did something right in my life.
Right. Right, because we're sitting here talking about it.
All the negativity I did something right.
Right.
You know, definitely want to thank all the pioneer DJs from back in the day for actually letting us get on. You know, Cool DJ B and Tyrone, the mixologist. You know, also want to send a shout out to the Furious Five. You know, because when we actually were thinking about a Jazzy 5, we said, well, we have to be able to match up with them. You know, so
man for man.
And then we went from there. I'm just grateful for this nomination and actually being nominated to be in the Hall of Fame, like B said, is 40 something years later. You know, but it's still good to know that people that was there, they know that we did what we did and we made that difference. And I say it again, big shout out to Geechee Dan for doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
thank you.
You know, shining the light on the brothers that don't really get that publicity. You know, because there's only a certain few people that are out there and they're promoting themselves and their groups, which I can understand. But there were a whole lot of other pioneers and legends and icons that were there in the beginning or near the beginning that definitely made a contribution to this thing we call hip hop.
Yeah, we're running short on time, but I want to give Master D the final word. Master Ice, thank you so much for being with us. Master B, thank you for being with us. Master D, what you got to say?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say rest in peace to Sundance,
Yes.
Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
And to my brothers, AJ Les, Master Ice, myself, Master B. Yo, brothers, we made it. We made it. We're making history. And our story will be told. It doesn't end here. And I just want you guys to know that the family that we have, this family is forever. And we still got stories that we got to tell, brothers. And we need to get together and let the story be told. You know, we all know how to get in contact with each other. And I just want to end it off with this. Soundview, stand up. That's where it all started.
Big shout out. A round of applause, everyone.
Yeah.
Round of applause for the Jazzy Time, Peachy Dan, Soundview Bronx.
Word. Big shout out to, let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
Yo, big shout out to my man Russell Fleming. He's from Soundview, and he's my son's godfather. So big shout out to him, because he the one, you know, kind of got me connected with people from Soundview, because, you know, he's from Soundview. So big shout out to Russell Fleming. Rest in peace, Mario. Disco King Mario. Rest in peace, Sundance, and Mr. Freeze. Rest in peace.
All right, we are Hip Hop in Action with this very special edition of the induction of the Jazzy 5. And that concludes our program, and we will have something very, very special for you in the new year, right after the holidays. So I hope everyone has a very happy holiday. And until then, peace. We're out of here.
Take a step inside music history as we bring you on a tour of the largest collection of artifacts and memorabilia at the Hip Hop Museum pop-up experience.
On the 40th anniversary of the famed song Rapper's Delight, hip-hop history is coming alive in the district.
With more than 500 items from hip-hop history, there's no shortage of collectibles to spark nostalgia, as well as touch a new generation of music fans.
I said a hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop. You don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red.
Everybody who comes in here for the first time, you know, they're just so excited and inspired because, you know, this has never been done before.
The genre's creators and pioneers have been turning out to see the collection for themselves, and in some cases, to be inducted into the ranks of hip-hop royalty.
I do have one of these, and I am proud of this right here.
I think it's a great thing because it shows the maturity of what hip-hop is for this history. And it's not only hip-hop history, it's basically black history.
We brought our daughter. She grew up in the backseat listening to this, repeating this. For me, it's a continuation of the love of hip-hop music. It absolutely is.
If you really love hip-hop, I need to hear you say, hell yeah! Hip-hop till the day I die!
Oh my God, this is amazing. This is really amazing, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of it.
I'm transforming!
Say what? I can't hear you, can't hear you. Say what? Oh, baby!
Yo, main source forever, yo. Happy New Year to everybody in the building.
Big deal, you know. It's been a long time coming. Finally, there's a brick and mortar establishment to show what hip hop means.
A hip hop museum is something definitely needed to preserve the culture.
A traveling food, art, fun, broadcasting, DJ, producer, performance, graffiti, b-boy concert experience encompassing all aspects of a music culture.